That's a new tool.
What's up, gangsters?
Hello, everybody. We're live.
That says
How we doing?
Four of us here hanging
couple
out.
of gangsters on the call. Everyone fire off a promotional tweet, would you?
Who's first?
I'll retweet the one that I did before.
Yeah, we have a bunch.
We'll wait for everybody to come in before we start. But
I didn't know if we were going to start with Kevin James.
Oh, we could. We don't have a video. For it. I need to make a video for it. It feels like empty when we're just sitting here in silence and the sound is there. Like I don't know. It doesn't feel.
Words in motorsports, the star of Universal Pictures movie. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, Kevin James.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine.
I need to make a video to go along with it.
Can it just be clips of Paul Blart Mocap?
I think I'm gonna make it. You know the video of like Joe is Lil Yachty on the stage, like going out, like doing the dance. I think I'm gonna just overlay it over that.
Well, that's easy. But yeah, throw in some Mocap like when he's playing Guitar Hero, maybe.
Timo says, "Please stop giving him videos of Jalen shooting free throws."
Yeah, it's tough. He practices them all practice. He's working. He's trying his best.
Yeah, wait. What? So I wasn't at practice, obviously, because of my job and also having COVID. What were some of the highlights before we get started?
It was pretty generic answers. They talked a lot about the Tatum Caleb Martin thing. They were just like, we loved it.
Especially Jalen got like 5 questions in a row about it.
Yeah, that was all it was. But it gave me. I will say I am grateful for that because if that hadn't happened, we would be screwed for content. We would have nothing to write about, nothing to talk about.
Can I push back on that? I feel like all we do in the regular season is talk about manufactured drama and how none of the regular season matters. And now it's the postseason, and like we don't even want to talk about the games.
Well, what are you supposed to take away from that game? There's nothing like. Well, obviously we're going to talk about it, but like they killed them. It wasn't close.
I will say this: they also a lot of the discussion. 2 of the interesting points were one that they have hammered home the way they finished Game 1 was not okay. That you cannot give Miami life coming into Game 2. And have them find positives they can potentially build on. So they understand that in this series, without Jimmy Butler, that it's okay to ease off the gas, but that does have consequences and it can't become a habit in the playoffs moving forward. And then the other one is because it is Miami, a lot of the comments, for example, where Joe Mazzulla is saying, quote, "We're getting ready for a fight."
Yeah, cool. I like that. No, that feels like there's more texture there. I just like the Caleb Martin thing. I didn't need more than 5 minutes of that immediately after Game 1. I didn't need 3 days of it for sure.
That's all we're talking about. Got nothing going on.
No, but like
it doesn't help that they're like, hey, why don't you guys have a whole school vacation between games?
Yeah, that's true. But that's I don't know. That's on us. I don't know. I do wonder. I guess like this call is not like anyone here or anyone watching is obviously like really a big Celtics fan, but I would imagine like average playoff watching people don't know about like, oh, Kristaps Porzingis radically changes the geography of the offense. Like, I don't think it's crazy for us to spend time like inviting people to the party and like explaining what's happening. But I don't know, like if the clicks are coming in and people want Caleb Martin slop, like that's our job, I guess.
I feel like yes, but like to Sam's point, like we've done, I mean, at least for me and Sam's perspective, we've done a 2-hour-long podcast, a 1-hour-long podcast, a game recap in 2 streams since the game, and there still hasn't been another game. So there's like only so many times you can say Porzingis is great. We're gonna do it all again in 5 minutes when everyone else jumps on, but like there's only so much you can talk about, and that is a big part of it because that's also all they're getting asked about, which I guess is partially on us, but also I mean Bobby can attest, it doesn't help when I can like I couldn't even hear the questions in the scrum today because there's a million cameras and a million people there, so it's impossible to like get a question and let alone hear it. So it's I don't know, it's tough. If that's what the people in the front row are asking, that's what you're right about.
Well, practice is really interesting, and obviously I don't go to practice that often, but the news shows up and then the news like they don't do 24 hours of Celtics content the way we do. They do 15 minutes of it at 11:45 at night. So they need to like be brought up to speed. So counterintuitively, I feel like the news guys showing up to practice, which is like their job and their right, changes like the questions that get asked. Am I wrong about that?
No,
I
because they're
love
looking
this.
for what they can cram into, like you said, it's a 15-minute block. And now, because it's the playoffs, I mean, still at most 5 minutes are going to go to the Celtics. The Bruins in the playoffs too for this market's coverage. So it becomes what's the juiciest thing that we can fit into a small window within the sports segment. So that's what they're looking to ask questions on and get quotes with. But for us, like Jack said, we come on all these podcasts nonstop. We write nonstop about it. So we can cover, hey, how did Kristaps Porzingis defend Bam Adebayo? What does it look like for the Celtics trying to minimize the impact of their shooters on dribble handoffs? And then also feed into the Caleb Martin slop, as you put it.
Hi, Noah. Welcome in. We're talking about, Cam, what is it? Like, why are we talking about Caleb Martin so much? Yeah.
Why are we serving
Sam is
sloppy
over
joes
it.
of Caleb Martin?
I've been over it. Well, we podcasted last night on Celtics Lab, and I was specifically like, hey, let's not talk about it. We're a day late, and it's not that interesting. And then we spent like 15 minutes on it. So
I love it. I love that you had the nice chat with Kristaps, too. I love the clip on Twitter. It made me think of Jack complaining about slow drivers in the left lane.
yeah,
Rats almost ran me off the road today. Happened again.
You just can't escape it. They're no
Those
matter.
fuckers. I forgot I could swear on the show. No, what are your thoughts? So you think there's too much coverage about the Caleb Martin thing? Our whole thing was like, what else is there to talk about? But
So, well, I think it's kind of it's a cyclical thing where there's articles about it, and then there's something to ask. Like Scal saying that it was code red, you had to ask.
That's crazy.
yeah,
You
that
had to
was.
ask. Like now it warrants those questions because it's where the news cycle is. But then in turn there are more quotes. Like today when we were leaving practice, like half our quotes were about Caleb Martin, right? So it's like, okay, what stories are we going to write? It's what was discussed. So I think it's kind of like a revolving door. I personally think this foul just like didn't warrant this conversation. Like it wasn't that crazy of a play. It's a play that happens all the time. Based on his reaction too, like right away you could tell he did not mean to hurt him. So I just think the whole thing just got a little overblown. Like I thought the Jaylen Brown, Duncan Robinson thing was a little bit more spicy last time they played.
Oh
Like,
hell yeah!
yeah, this didn't even really have hard feelings. And then after the game, all the players were like, yeah, we know it was an accident. Jaylen Brown even said today, like when I rewatched it, I realized it was an accident. So I think it was just there's 3 days in between games. So people are a little bored.
They should actually do a group hug before game 2, and then everybody would be so mad, including me. Like I'd be mad too. But it would be hilarious if they were like, it's all good, like made a big camera scene out of it and everything after all we did was talk right about Caleb Martin for 2 days for the wrong reasons.
Sam, we got a question in the chat for you. How was your heart rate? How's your heart rate doing?
The funny thing about the heart monitor thing is by the time Caleb Martin turned into the guy from Karate Kid, I don't know the name, I've never seen it, that sweeps the leg, and I had taken it off. The game was over. There was no reason for me to have the heart meter on when it was over with 16 points and a minute and a half to go.
Wait,
The Sam screen sent me up a little spike, though.
Like the Celtics, Sam did not run through the tape on Sunday.
Yeah, you got to commit to the bid at that point. Come on.
Yeah, no commitment at all from me.
Did everyone watch the Sixers-Knicks game?
Yes.
That was a heart monitor game. If
That was
I've ever,
not
I mean, I had the
Zach
heart
was busy
pumping.
hitting dingers.
This is true.
That was nuts. Anyone watch the Lakers game after that? Lakers Nuggets?
Also,
I turned
nuts.
on the end.
Like,
I watched the
yeah,
end.
maybe pound for pound one of the best days of basketball watching. Like that I can remember
Disagree.
too. Like stellar games.
Crazy.
Disagree,
This-
Sam.
This is a great comment.
I
Sam's
just
just
didn't like the
personal
result of
hatred.
the first
Yeah,
game. Yeah, but
he just doesn't
excellent
like the Knicks.
basketball.
he's a loser.
The Lakers Nuggets game was that was one of the best NBA games I've watched in a very long time.
It was so good. Can
That
you
was
imagine if LeBron had hit that 3 with like 30 seconds to go?
Totally, yeah.
How about Jokic shamelessly free throw merchanting with the game on the line? Just from like
He tried it.
35 feet out. Let me see if I can get to the free throw line.
He does
This is
that
something that like never works for him.
But
And
it led to the
Think about
MPJ
that call.
3.
Like it's an insane decision to have heaved the ball in that moment when he's never gotten that call. Like it was just ridiculous.
Can you imagine if Tatum did that? How insufferable I would be, Jack.
I don't want to think about it.
Is the guy who likes the Knicks in the chat?
Thank
No,
God.
Andrew's not here right now.
Oh,
We're
this was his
previewing
moment.
Game 2 in this, right?
What'd you say?
Noah?
Are we previewing Game 2 in this episode?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
do whatever in this episode. This
We're
is
chilling.
just Celtics Heat series talk. This is far more free flowing than the others. I did want to bring up, because everyone's talking about this Caleb Martin thing. I feel like the Bam screen on Derek White was more notable than the Caleb Martin thing. Like Bam is phenomenal at every single screen he sets is illegal, but he hides it really well. So none of them
That
are
one was
actually
not
illegal.
hidden well.
No, but you know, who perfected that was Kevin Garnett. Like I just,
Yes,
it's
no.
just look, it's on the refs to call it. Good for Bam. I set screens like that. That's play with it. The color inside the lines. Best
I
you
set a
can, but,
screen like that when we were playing pickup a while ago, Sam, and I hurt Proc in the process.
I had somebody set a screen on me when I was playing pickup, and I heard my spine crack.
Ugh.
Also, Derek sells that a lot. I mean, as
I'm
well he
okay
might.
with illegal picks because I think they're all illegal.
I can't
honestly.
hear anybody.
Like such a high percentage of NBA picks are illegal that unless it's like egregious, I think it's like not the end of the world if they miss the call or if it was like that was a bad one. But if you go back to like even Al Horford's picks, he sets picks like that all the time too.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of holding in the NFL. It happens on every
not
play, every screen.
Wait, Jack, throw that back up there. What I would like
Andrew
to do
appeared.
is put Kata in the game or put.
Throw the screen back up there. I was like,
Throw
what?
the screen up. Put Kata in the game or put Tillman in the game and just have them run through Bam. Like even if it's a defensive foul, like put the onus on Bam. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
because that's part of what I was saying about the Caleb Martin thing. Is like part of why I didn't think it was quote unquote dirty is Caleb Martin was just as liable to get hurt on that play. But in a screen like this, that's not the case. I mean, Derek White's much more likely to get hurt here. So like, I'm not saying hurt another player, but like run through him, not sort of around him. I don't know. I don't think I think the suggestion that the Heat are dirty is tired, but they're way more physical. Like Boston needs to put a little gravel in their gut and like push back a little.
That's a Cam line right there.
What
Gravel in the gut.
Gravel in the gut.
Yeah, I just love Johnny Cash.
That is all the Celtics were talking about at practice today. Just saying, yeah, you know, we're just gonna be more physical now. Like that's what we're gonna do, and we're just gonna be more physical. We see the Bam thing, or the Caleb Martin thing. We love the Caleb Martin thing, and we're gonna respond to it. So it wouldn't surprise me if next game gets a little chippy in a good way, but like gets a little chippy.
Can I say something disagreeable and then we should move on?
Yes to the first part. No, we cannot move on after you
Apparently,
say it.
Tatum should have boxed out. That was a weak ass rebound. Part of why he got tossed around is because he just waited for the ball to come to him and like did a little bunny hop. He should have grabbed the rebound like a. Yeah, but it wasn't like.
What are you talking about?
That's
Jump
wild.
for the rebound.
That is a wild thing to say.
If you run it back, like if you watch it, he got so lucky that the rebound came to him perfectly, but he never set himself for a box out. He just kind of like was standing there. If the rebound went any other direction, he wouldn't have gotten it. And so it was kind of like he wasn't doing the right thing in the first place. It just was bad circumstance that the ball came right to him. So then it looked spectacular, but if the ball had gone to the left or the right a little bit, you know what I mean? Like he's just standing there, like waiting for the rebound. Like stick your ass out. He's 7 feet tall.
He was midair.
I think
But he
the
never
box
stood
out thing, like usually you have somebody that you're supposed to box out. There's nobody with him.
Yeah.
Well, you find the body. You don't set yourself and hope they come to you. You find the person. Like
I mean,
just think
NBA players like never box out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like Martin comes in wicked fast, and the clip is not.
Martin got pushed. Respectfully, Martin got pushed. Like I totally agree with the people who have been seeing that. Drew Holiday shoves him, like completely changes his course.
I'm just saying, like
he did not change his course.
Yes, he did.
He moves off his line. You can see that's not a Drew Holiday thing, but he moves off his line.
I think the Caleb Martin like step here is like when you go to the airport and you get on like the moving walkway. That's what happens after Holiday hits him. Like he just speeds up by like 50% and loses his path because he said he was going back for a putback dunk.
And if you watch Martin, his head he's never looking at Tatum like a target he's about to run through. He is constantly trying to track the rebound.
And Tatum should have found him. Should have stuck his ass
Wait.
out. Should have boxed out.
Bobby, who is this?
That is my sister.
Shout out.
Jumping into this chat.
I saw it in the chat. Shout out. It's usually my dad who's in here when I see like
Henry.
last names. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, Henry. Henry says hi.
He's
Sam,
probably
by the way.
asleep.
He doesn't.
Shout out
understand.
Hen.
No, he's playing video games right there. I don't know. It does feel like we were talking a lot about it, but like at the same time, we can talk about game 1 and preview game 2 a little bit here.
Finally,
The problem of it is like
Cam's
when
coming
the
in spicy today.
Okay, you know what,
I
Cam?
like this.
What's your biggest takeaway from the game where when the Celtics and Heat were trying, it wasn't a fucking game? What's the big takeaway?
I don't think we learned anything about the Heat yet. I think that they had 36 hours of turnaround and all they did was play zone. I think that there's going to be a game where, like we saw in the Eastern Conference Finals, they have like 6 different defensive looks, and that's when things get interesting. Joe Mazzulla didn't have to play chess in game 1. He just had to play checkers. It was play against the zone, and they did it phenomenally. They hit 22 threes. As soon as Miami can game plan a little bit, and now they have a little bit of time. Remember last year, it'd be like every other quarter, they'd have a completely different defensive scheme, and the Celtics were bamboozled. And we just haven't seen that yet. And there's no reason to think that it's not coming. That's when things get interesting, that like, oh, can Mazzulla actually coach this team past who historically has been a better coach? See, I got takes. I don't need to talk about Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Respectfully,
Cameron with the watch out for the Heat take.
so what do you think, Sam?
I'm like kind of like, okay, they don't really have anybody to initiate the offense. I think Cam's got a point with the Spoelstra scheming wrinkle to this, but I'm not really convinced Miami's going to do a whole lot of scoring here. Everything that they got in game 1 was difficult. Like, okay, Tyler Hero, it's not getting any easier, buddy. Like Drew Holiday and Derek White, knock on wood, aren't going anywhere. So your other creators are Bam, who's going to take sick mid-range jumpers, which I always have respect for, but might not be the best practice in the mathematic-heavy NBA, and Jaime Jaquez, who's going to do very similar things to him. So everything Miami is going to get offensively is 1, difficult, and 2, less than ideal from a mathematics standpoint. I'm not really moved by like any kind of extra threat that Spoelstra is going to add. Like, sure, it'll be fun to see how Mazzulla adjusts, and I think that's a very valid talking point. Like, it's a nice little tune-up for him, but I don't think it's going to be like, look out, they're back. Miami's back.
Well, so Sam, I think the difference is that Miami and the Celtics know what you just noted, which is they can't win if their most reliable source of scoring is Bam mid-range jump shots, and he's not getting to the free throw line. He also only had 3 assists, but he did do a good job of getting guys open looks on dribble handoffs. That's where they're really going to try and reconfigure their offense. They shot about 32% from 3. So if they can all of a sudden get Duncan Robinson flying off a pin down into a dribble handoff with Bam, for example, like DeLon Wright, who got cooking in the 4th quarter, some of that was off of open threes, courtesy of actions involving Bam pitching him the ball and screening for him, and then trying to occupy everyone else. So there was no one to help the person defending Bam in limiting those clean looks. That's what you're going to see from Miami, is a more offense tilted towards how can we get open in rhythm shots from 3. And that revolves around leveraging Bam as a screener.
He's got his moving screen shoes on.
Exactly.
He's ready. He is ready. Also, quick Duncan Robinson. I saw he said to somebody today he's not going to be himself until his back gets better. So
I thought he was out.
Keep your eyes on that.
He hasn't been playing
Bobby
like himself
Manning
since the
retweeted it.
play-in.
Don't love coming with excuses 1 game into the series.
I love it. That's great for all of us.
It's pretty soft.
Chalked.
Even if it's true, it's pretty soft to just air that out.
Heat culture.
That is
why
not
is that
heat
an
culture.
excuse, though?
What do you say?
Like he's playing like 12 minutes a night too. So it's like he's clearly not playing regular rotation minutes.
Yeah,
He's
it's
like, my back hurts, so
I'm not lying or anything. It's just to broadcast that is a little soft.
Wait, can I get a sit rep on Miami's injury report? So definitely no Rozier, no Butler, but maybe Robinson.
Robinson in.
Was
Did he
he
play in the
listed
first
as
game?
out on Sunday, or he just?
He
didn't
went from
play?
questionable to available for Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, he was available. No, what were your takeaways from game 1? Do you lean on the side of we didn't see what we've seen, like Cam's take of the Heat, or do you lean more of just that's like genuinely how the series is going to go?
I don't think the series is going to go like that because the Celtics also shot 45% from 3, which is not always going to happen. They're going to have hopefully not more than 1, but they could have a stretch of games where all of a sudden they're not hitting shots like what happened last year. So that's like one thing I would note, but I agree, like the firepower is lacking, but also with Miami, you just don't know where it's going to come from. Like what if Delon Wright starts going off for like 25 the rest of the series. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past what's possible. So I think the firepower could be there, and we just don't know. But I don't think that's what we're going to see from Miami all series. Like, that's just unrealistic. They're going to make adjustments. They're going to make the Celtics uncomfortable. So I think we're going to see a more competitive series than we did.
That makes sense. Hey, Khari, how you doing? Welcome in.
Hello. What's up?
We are currently talking about Cam said he doesn't think game 1 is a reflection of how the series is going to go. Noah sort of leaned into it. Sam and Bobby noted the Heat's lack of offense for it. Do you think we see more of game 1 moving forward in the series, or do you think there's going to be some balance out of the Heat being better, of all this stuff going on, or do you think like that is truly a reflection of these two teams?
Oh, I mean, definitely. I think there's definitely going to be some change. Like, you know, I don't think the Celtics are going to win by 20 every night. I don't think that's a safe bet at all.
So yeah. I think my whole thing on it is, I think part of what Sam is right in the sense, or excuse me, what Cam said is right in the sense of the Heat are probably going to have more looks, but I think where I lean is, I think the Celtics have so much better of a roster this season that they are going, like, I think the Heat are almost going to be forced to play zone, because I don't think they'll be able to guard the Celtics in one-on-one situations. Like, you have too many holes on that defense, and the Celtics have too much talent. Like, what are your thoughts on that sort of thing, Cam? Like, do you just think they're going to be able to put together a good enough scheme through Eric Spoelstra where that won't matter? Because I feel like the Celtics are so much different last year when a lot of these problems presented themselves that it might not matter as much.
I think two things are possible. First of all, Boston's obviously going to win this series. Like, don't get it twisted. But I could see a world where one of two things happen, either in isolation or together. First, Miami, I think last year did a nice job of baiting Jason and Jalen into one-on-ones and like making them go hero ball. And when left to their own devices, they really like doing that. That seems like a habit that's hard for them to break. So I could see a world where they scheme a man coverage or like a box one coverage or something like that into Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown shooting into isolation oblivion, and that's bad for Boston. I mean, Miami scored 94 labored points in game 1. If they can get to 100, I could see a world where they could get Boston closer to 100 or 105, and then you have a real game. And then the second thing is, like Noah said, statistically, it's unlikely that Boston is going to shoot 45% from 3 every game. So let's pencil in a game where Boston shoots 20% from 3, and it's on them to make up the rest of the offense. And maybe they don't do that. We've seen during the regular season, they've been better at that, but last year they were really bad at pivoting when the shots were falling. So that could be good for a Miami loss. And then again, I think they could Jedi mind trick Jason and Jalen into their bad habits. They seem susceptible to that throughout this season. That could be good for a Miami win too. So certainly Boston is winning this thing, but for the Heat to pick up a game or two, I don't think takes tremendous imagination.
Do you play in the Miami believes they have a shot if the game is close aspect of this, where we've seen the Celtics drop close games? I mean, let's just talk about Atlanta, back-to-back close games. Do they carry that with them? And they're like you said, if we can get to 100 points, watch out. Like, they might melt right in front of our eyes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, at some point, Jason and Jalen and the rest of them are going to mature past that, I think. But they're still on that cusp of like, they're fundamentally pretty young and their coach is fundamentally untested. And Miami also has young, untested players, but Spoelstra is rock steady. And it does seem like the Heat culture bullshit and like the lane painting that they did is overwrought. But it does seem like these are really disciplined, focused guys. Like, I do think that there's something about the system that they have there that is like a little more rock steady. So yeah, I think we'll see at some point Boston will get the yips and the sky will be falling for the few days after. And we'll have to talk about that for 15 minutes to start every podcast. I suspect they're in a different place with it than they were last year. But like I've said this to Noah, can you imagine a world where like the Celtics go out in a whimper because they got the yips and then we have to cover this team next year? How awful that's going to be. So I really hope that they don't do that.
Well, heart monitor.
Well, since you've had the conversation, I'll ask Noah, how likely do you think it is that we see that, one, from the Heat forcing the Celtics into the yips, and two, in general, like how Cam used the word on the cusp, like how far past it are these Celtics of getting the yips if they lose a game versus do you think they're still susceptible to it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't necessarily know that I trust Miami that much in close games. Like, there's certain teams in the league right now that I would favor like heavily over the Celtics in like a crunch time situation, like the Nuggets or even the Knicks. Like, they've pulled out plenty of wins like last night this year. I think this Miami team, like, there's not this like order on offense of like knowing who's the person that they're going to turn to for a last shot. There's not really that much experience. Like, you don't have Jimmy Butler right now. You don't have Kyle Lowry. You don't have some of the people that were really, Gabe Vincent, some of the people that were really pivotal for last year's run. Like, there was stretches of time where I was like, these people that we're seeing, like Jaime Jaquez and Delon Wright and Jovic, like this is like a very untested group that is now like their go-to offense. And so I don't really think that there's not, I don't necessarily defer to Miami as like the authority on like late game execution the way that maybe they were last year's playoff run. That could easily change if we see in a situation that that's the case. But I don't think Celtics are really at heavy risk of losing this series. I never like talk about things in absolutes the way that maybe you guys feel like this is like a done deal. This is like a given just because we've seen in the past that that's not always the case. But I think they should pull this one out. But certainly later down the road in the playoffs, like in a finals matchup against Denver, I think it'll be important to see how they can compose themselves. And to me, a lot of it is not just about whether like Tatum and Brown can handle themselves, but it's about whether they can defer to people like Derek White to have the ball in their hands in those moments. Because I really trust the Celtics if Derek White has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it is, I mean, you saw a little bit of slip up like the fourth quarter in game one where it was like, oh, we're up 35. But how much of that is the Celtics internally being susceptible to that versus just as much as people don't want to admit it, the human nature of we're up by 30, like whatever. Bobby, I'll go to you next. Like, are you of the belief that the Celtics are past that, yips? Do you think Miami, like, how does Miami win a game in the series? Cam talked about the defenses, but then Sam countered with the offenses, like sort of that combined, like how confident are you and how worried are you about the Celtics yips, not even in just theories, but in the playoffs?
I'm not worried about yips carrying from one game to another. I don't even know if that's the proper way to phrase it, but the juiciest part of what Miami, how they could test out the Celtics in this series is any game that comes down to crunch time, and win or lose, those are valuable reps for the Celtics, especially as Noah said, with a team like the Denver Nuggets, like the New York Knicks in mind. But to me, even though you look up and down Miami's roster and whether it's turnover from last year to this one or what you perceive as some of these guys as quote unquote shooters, I more look at it as, even though they might not have that respect factor, it's if you can get an NBA player who's in a rotation for a playoff team, an open look coming off most notably a Bam Adebayo dribble handoff or a pitch back, you expect them to knock it down. So I think Miami will reconfigure their offense. I think they can get quality in rhythm threes, whereas on the defensive side of the floor, Jack, I mean, when they go zone and Duncan Robinson's in the game, he's a sitting duck for Tatum, and that's one way that Boston can force double teams. So if Miami's not changing their rotations into a more clever fashion when they send two at Tatum or even Jaylen Brown to try and force turnovers and take away that first read, they're in huge trouble. And if they play one-on-one without help, they're going to get cooked. So to me, I actually have more confidence in how Miami can overcome the talent gap offensively compared to defensively. And then in crunch time, just relying on their physicality and ingenuity to perhaps steal a game along the way.
Yeah, and I mean, there's something in the chat about it. I don't know how far back it was. Yeah, the real Darrell saying, if you win by 15 plus, you don't have to worry about the Celtics executing down the stretch. Handle your business. Khari, I'll ask you this. How confident are you in the Celtics' ability to get to that point and win by that margin? And two, if the shots don't fall like we talk about, how do you see the Celtics adjusting for the threes not going down?
Well, that's what Joe talks about, right? Winning the margins. Like, we've heard it over and over and over again. And the Celtics have been so consistent at it. I mean, like, we got 64 wins for a reason. I mean, this team can win in a variety of ways. And that's kind of the problem. Like, they beat teams by so much that they don't really get tested like that, which is why we're kind of thinking like, oh, the playoffs might be different. Things might get close. But like in the regular season, how many times have we showed up to the Garden and like they got up by like 30 in the first half and the game was over?
Yeah, I mean, I think the question is more really, and I'll ask you this, Sam. How realistic, excuse me, is it expect that level of blowouts in the playoffs consistently? I mean, Miami may be one thing, but just in general, and I know you are, I don't want to say a doubter, but a worrier, so I'll go to
you. Win every game by 1 billion, please. It's something that should probably be able to happen for this team, depending on the opponent, 60 to 75% of the time to win by 15 plus. I mean, if you just look at the regular season, it's a lot of what we saw. Like, they won a ton of games by a bunch. They led by 30 more times than they trailed by 10. I think they might have led by 30 more times than they lost. It's not that uncommon for them to be able to put the beatings on teams. And we saw it in game 1. They did a great job of just, I mean, I was so impressed because they just got after it right from the jump. There was no doubt. They ripped off 14-0 run right out of the gates, 17-2 to start the game. Miami creeps back into it. Hauser makes a bunch of threes, and that's the end of the game. Sure, Miami cut it to 14 in the fourth, but even then, it was 14. And as much as I didn't like to watch it, and I was like, this isn't the greatest, I'm thinking about Dean Wade, it was still 14 points with like 3.5 minutes to go. It wasn't all that realistic that Miami would be able to climb out of the hole as much as they already had. The hole was so deep, it's just there is no hope. And that's the key, especially against a team like Miami. Eat the hope. Don't give them hope. And carry that with you. Eat the hope. Carry it with you throughout the playoffs. No hope. Legendary chant. Better than what
makes
the
me think of Jameis Winston with the
win.
eat the W.
Eat the W. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I will say, Jack, and then are we doing trivia or something?
We will. We can get to that in a little bit,
Cool.
for sure.
So far, it's a small sample size, but the median number of 3-point attempts by teams in the postseason is about 35, and that's what we saw in the regular season. And so we saw like a huge number of double-digit or 20-point comebacks this year, but that's just because teams are shooting the 3-point ball at an unprecedented clip, and 3 is worth more than 2. So maybe not with the Celtics. Like, hopefully that they can handle their business on defense, but there's statistically likely going to be more big-time comebacks this postseason, just because teams are leveraging the 3 as much as they have been in the regular season so far.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you saw it in the regular season, so it's bound to happen in the playoffs. You've already seen a couple, like, I mean, the Nuggets came back against the Lakers, but that could just be because the Lakers aren't very good. I'll go around the horn here. I'll ask you this. Eat the heat. Shout out, Rui. Cam touched on a similar topic when he was talking about, the Heat are to throw out more defenses. Game 2 coming up tomorrow night. I want to go around the horn, ask you, what is one thing you're expecting to happen differently? It can be a player shooting different. It can be the Celtics game planning different. It could be something Eric Spoelstra does, the Heat does, a Heat player does. There's one thing you're expecting to be different in game 2 than game 1. And Cam, I'll start with you since you were the brainchild of this question.
Sure, but I'll just kind of completely pivot from what I just said. I don't think the Celtics can hit 45% of their threes again. Boston generated really open looks, and it would just be a huge dereliction of duty if Miami allows that to happen again. So maybe Boston will hit a huge number of threes, but I expect them to be hard earned. So I don't think Boston will get as many outstandingly open 3-pointers in game 2. Whether or not that proves to be a huge problem remains to be seen.
I see. Noah, what do you think? What's going to be different?
Probably I didn't think their doubling defensive scheme was all that effective. Like, it got to the point where it was so comfortable and it was kind of consistent throughout the game that Tatum was just kind of waiting for the double and kind of excited about it almost. And then when it came, he would just make the easy pass. And so they weren't really challenging him. And I wouldn't be surprised if they played that again for stretches next game. But like Cam said earlier, I anticipate that the defense will change substantially throughout the game more. And again, yeah, I mean, they're lacking some personnel. It certainly makes it easier that Jimmy Butler is not there. They have a bunch of young guys. There's some limitations to what they can do, but I would rather have Tatum, go for, if I was Eric Spoelstra, I'd rather have Tatum, make difficult shots than have wide open threes for all above average NBA shooters. And so I would think that at least they'll mix it up a little.
Definitely. Bobby, what are you looking for?
Yeah, it's the two stuff that we've all touched on throughout here, that defensively, those double teams, that was kind of a regular season type of gimmick where it was pretty vanilla. So if they continue to rely on them, which I think they have to an extent, how do they change those rotations, especially on the weak side? And then when it comes to the other end of the floor, I think they're going to completely reconfigure their offense, because they can't keep up if their most reliable source of scoring is Bam from the mid-range. So I think they're really going to try and find how to leverage his abilities as a screener to be more effective from beyond the arc and stay attached, where then we know for sure the biggest adjustment for them will be they raise their level of physicality in this game. And if it does come down to crunch time, that's where that comes in handy in particular. So those are the adjustments that I expect to see from the Heat.
Khari, what do you think?
I don't think Caleb Martin's going to go 0 for 4 from 3 again. I think he has the spotlight on him after that Tatum foul. I think he's going to get some attention. I think the Heat are going to find the way to get him some looks, because he's hit some big shots against the Celtics before, and it's hurt them.
Sam?
Caleb Martin is such an interesting take, because I agree. I didn't even think about how that's going to affect his mentality on the floor. Not just talking about, hey, I swear I'm not a dirty player, but all right, you guys want to talk about me. It's time for me to drop buckets. That man's jump shot is extremely broken. It did not look like this a year ago. It didn't. He has this extreme hitch in the middle of it. It's disgusting looking. If he starts making threes against the Celtics tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, Jack, I have stumbled into some information I prefer not to have. And I have discovered that the Celtics, unlike game 1, will not be taking game 2 seriously. They will be wearing not white at home. And it is a lot to ask for the equipment manager to do their job correctly. And, Giannis has spoken about this, NBA champion. He probably knows what he's talking about. Maybe they're not going to look as serious tomorrow at home. It's very disappointing. I will still have a tweet for you guys tomorrow, but my day's been ruined and it's not even Wednesday yet.
Unfortunate. All right. I want to go around the horn one more time. I want to ask a question. I'm going to move Cam and Noah just so we can go around the horn truly, because Cam was first last time, so I'll move him. Similar to that question, I want to ask you, not necessarily the X factor player, but the player you're going to be watching tomorrow. It can be because they had a good game. You don't think they'll be as good. They had a bad game. You think they'll be better. You think what they are doing against in a certain matchup is important. Just the player you're going to be watching in tomorrow's game for whatever reason you so choose. Cam.
You said I wasn't going first.
Either team. No. I meant I put you back in the cycle. I moved you and Noah so you could go first. You can go around the horn. And it can be on either team. Would you not want to go first? Do you want me to switch it up?
No, I don't mind. I just think I misunderstood. I got it. Well, no, I have an answer. I think that Al Horford ran out of gas last postseason in a really big and obvious way. And he played 25 minutes in game 1. That feels like it's too much for an opponent that's not good enough to demand that. Put Tillman in for 15 minutes, see what happens. You went out and got him for a reason. Obviously, Horford understands his role. He's a better player. No offense to Xavier. But I just save Horford. They need him to have legs later in the postseason. They don't need him necessarily right now. But in fact, if they do, that's a huge indictment of the team. So I would like to see literally any minutes from Xavier Tillman. But I guess really my answer is far fewer Horford minutes.
All right, Noah, what do you think? Which player are you watching?
Yeah, I guess I can make a case for a few of these, but I'll pick Jaylen Brown. I thought his stat line was solid. I think he was 6 for 12 from the field, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, didn't have a high amount of turnovers or anything. But I didn't think he looked particularly comfortable, in game 1. Oftentimes he seemed rushed. I thought that there were stretches throughout the season where he looked a lot more comfortable than he did. And so just curious how he bounces back, I guess, from not a tough game. He had 17 points and if it was a efficient night, but I still think that he can play a lot better than that, and he can look a lot more kind of within his own flow. And they're going to need him to have big games and be consistent throughout this postseason run. So same could be said for Tatum too. Always watching him, but yeah, that'll be my pick.
Gotcha, Bobby. Who are you going with?
I'll take the low-hanging fruit and go with Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, especially if Miami raises their physicality, then what does that look like in terms of his effectiveness setting and holding screens, and then being able to punish switches subsequently? So to me, he also did an outstanding job against Bam defensively. So he needs to keep that up as well and just build off of his first playoff game as a Celtic.
All right, Khari, I know you said Caleb Martin beforehand. You can stick with him, but who are you watching next game? You're still muted.
Well, Kristaps was also my pick because his rim protection was good, but also I think he has more to give offensively and on the boards. You're 7'2". You give 4 rebounds to the Celtics for a game. I mean, I think he has more than that in him. And also, when we look at his points, 12 of his points, he only has like 18 points. 12 of those were threes. Like, we haven't seen the full extent of his bag, his arsenal in terms of hitting those middies and getting a couple of dunks. So I think we got to watch out for Kristaps.
All right, Sam, thoughts?
Jack and I, as bozos, bet Kristaps dunks in game 1. Just to talk about the dunks. I am watching Jrue Holiday. I think Jrue Holiday did a tremendous job on defense throughout game 1. Everybody talked about it. It's no secret. And, Tatum gave him a ton of credit in the post-game pressers on Sunday afternoon. However, a lot of people, some of them in the Talking Seas chat, were none too pleased that he was smoking layups at the rim. I'm curious to see if he's able to find his footing a bit on offense. He hasn't exactly been fantastic since he came off the shoulder injury. Not that I think the Celtics are, oh my gosh, what if Jrue Holiday is not going to give us 20 points a game? I don't think they're that worried. They have the depth to be able to handle any kind of drop off, but you still want him to be there for you and be able to make shots in big moments in the playoffs. So I'm taking a look at him on offense, and I hope he keeps it up on defense.
Gotcha. All right, and no, we do need a comment here. Michael is asking you in the chat, and I noticed you responded and said she'd never seen Bobby play.
Send a video.
I just thought we could.
Wow, he's got it ready to go.
Of Bobby versus Jay Kings. It is 7 years ago, but
Okay,
we do get some.
Here's the thing. It was 7 years ago, and also that's the only footage I've seen of him play. And Jay King is like a very good basketball player, right?
He is.
So I'm not going to be cocky here because I have a feeling it wouldn't go well for me. But until I play Bobby, I can't comment officially.
I mean, we can share both the tapes if you like. We can just get a look at both sides.
Wait, but hold on.
Well,
that's my highlight reel, so that's not going to hurt me.
It's true, but it's cash.
But also the question, Noah, was a game of 21, not 2-21.
Well,
so you just have to outshoot him.
Like a shooting.
I suppose.
I have a feeling I'd win.
I mean, that's how the question was posed.
Okay, I think I'd probably win. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't shoot, but based on that video, I'll take my chance.
I'd pay to see it.
Khari,
go ahead, Cam.
Khari, how long have you been covering the Celtics?
This is year 2 for me.
Oh, geez. Because way back in the day, they used to do a media game, and they'd like host it at the practice facility. And I never got invited when I was a young man. And now that I'm an old man, I'd like to be. They don't do it anymore. I'd like them to bring it back. I brought up Twist last year, but I don't think Twist was the right person to bring it up to. But
right.
We really got to start pushing for this.
Bring it up to Christian. He would get the ball rolling.
Christian would do it.
You know Christian's down.
Christian would do it. Before the season, also, Bobby Manning asked Joe in a presser, Utah did a training day with their media. Like they had the coaches run the media. Do a combine. And Bobby was like,
no,
Joe, why don't we do it? And Joe said, maybe we will next year, Bobby. We'll do it. And so maybe we'll keep our hopes up. Bobby Manning. Yeah, it was like media day or something. It was like early in the season. I think it was during like a preseason.
It was media day.
Yeah.
And Joe would love that, especially if he gets to run it.
I'd
vomit.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I can't even do my PT.
If I managed to wiggle my way in there, I would be like, just in case you need somebody for 15 spot, I'm ready.
Make the case
the
again.
Chat voted me second behind Nemi last year for the contract, just so you know.
It's true.
You were right there, man.
I was close.
That means you have to win the combine, Sam.
Well, that means there's a two-way out there that you could get.
Here's a two-way available.
They're like, we're so good, we're actually
like
going to give a two-way to a media member.
All right. Any final thoughts on game 2, the Heat in general, etc. before we get to trivia? Anybody?
Does anyone have a line on that game now that we've talked about it for as long as we have?
Ooh, let me take a look.
Game
I can
2?
pull it up real quick and tell you.
Yeah. My guess is the Celtics are like a -7.5 or something.
We've got guesses. Anything to throw on? It was 14.5. Yeah, game 1. Huge line, game 1. Yeah.
I'm sticking with 7.5.
No.
Any other guesses?
I'm going to say 14.5.
Anybody else? Oh,
I'll take 11. I'll take 11. I'll take 11.
I don't even know if it's up. Oh, yeah, we do. 14.5. Same. Just 14.5. Same thing.
Might as well stick with it.
There you go.
All
right.
Material.
Let's do trivia time, shall we? throw you guys. I need to fix the cameras. Hold, please.
Camera, cue the
I
duck.
realized at the last
I
second.
love the panic.
I forgot they're like that. Well, because half the time, like people don't show up, and so I've got to fix it on the fly. Okay. Change the background as well. We do have to go to the wheel to determine teams, though, as per usual. Let me pull up the wheel. Don't worry about it. All right, let's see.
Today.
Can I turn the sound off on the wheel? I'm going to turn the sound off on
I
the
love
wheel
the
because
sound.
It came through pretty clearly just now.
my bad.
Wait, play the
All
duck
right.
music, Sam.
Sam's up top.
You want the duck music? You want
I
the
always
duck
wanted the
music?
duck music.
Or the ducks? Feeding the ducks.
Alrighty. Never. Just will never be on the same
The
team.
gods are not on our side, Sam.
Spanish.
It's
Not
never
allowed.
happening.
I think Jack has rigged it.
He
You see
respects
me spin the
too
wheel.
much.
you can. Okay. Sam and Khari.
Khari's gonna save me again, like last week, where I was like,
Khari's a
maybe
butt.
you shouldn't pick Mello. And
You almost-
I was hoping so badly. I needed you to guess Mello.
I'm just typing it onto the sheet so you guys can read the question here. So we're doing a cumulative one, and so because of that, I have to use StatMuse because there is no way to find this on StatHead. I couldn't figure out how to find this on StatHead. Excuse me. So what we are doing today, and I am banning one answer because it is so far ahead of everybody else that would make the question like a cheat. Like you would win effectively if you got this player, and so I'm banning one player. The question is most fouls in the playoffs against the Celtics since 2010, in honor of Caleb Martin and Bam Adebayo. Most fouls by a player committed against the Celtics. I'm banning LeBron. LeBron is the most because he's played the Celtics so
that
much.
was my first guess.
Yeah, it
So
is.
this is cumulative. This is not in one game.
Correct. I'm just putting
Great
trivia at the top.
question.
I'll give you.
Oh,
give you guys a time
everyone
to
click
think.
out of the chat.
Yeah, turn the chats off. Turn the chats off.
Well, I don't know. Who knows if the chat knows anything?
No, you got to
Well,
go chat off.
You don't want to be influenced by the chat. I'll put that at the top.
I'm
Two,
chaffing the
three,
wind.
four,
I'll
five,
listen to anyone.
Six
Cheating cam.
6 guesses each for you guys.
Am I on a team? Is it me, Bobby, and Noah?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Let's get it.
So, Khari and Cam, or excuse me, Khari and Sam. I'm gonna say Sam and Cam wrong a million times.
You can call me
and there's
Cameron.
nothing I can do.
There's a fix for that. Or
I cannot
Samuel.
do that.
You can call him Samuel.
Absolutely not. Sam
I
and
can't.
Khari, you guys get
Please
first
don't.
guess. And a reminder, again, like this is all on StatMuse, so I do not have I can't just control F everything, so it's gonna take me a second sometimes.
Okay, so Bobby,
most
you can
fouls.
relax.
Read the body language.
Yeah.
Again,
see if you can see
the
it off the
exact
glasses.
the exact thing I typed in to StatMuse is most fouls against the Celtics in the playoffs since 2010, and it comes up with. I mean, I banned LeBron, so I can say it. Since 2009, 2010, LeBron James has committed the most personal fouls in the playoffs versus the Celtics. So, that is the context. Go.
That's crazy because he hasn't played the Celtics in the playoffs in years.
Yeah, but he played so many times in those years.
Yeah.
But he is banned. Sam and Khari, first guess.
This is a
All
tough
right, so the Celtics and the Heat have played in 4 of the last 5 playoffs. So I think we should pick someone from this Heat team, and I think that someone should be Bam Adebayo.
That's a good guess. He does love a physical play. It's a good guess. Good answer. We'll roll with Bam.
Alrighty. Adebayo gets you 66.
We don't know if
How
that's
many?
good yet.
Yeah,
so
we have
good
no
answer.
idea.
That was good.
Okay, that was smart process of elimination. I guess the Sixers and the Bucks would also be teams that the Celtics have played a lot, but then it could be another Heatle for that reason, right?
It could be. We are. Those are the 3 places. Say again, no.
It's the 7-game series too. That helps. Not just that they played, but they were all long series.
1000%.
D Wade's not bad because he would have played before the Heatles, then he would have played on that.
Be
Bulls
careful
team for
about
a
how many
season.
names you throw out.
And he's a dirty player.
Be careful, Cam.
I mean,
But he is one of the best guesses that we could probably come up with right now.
yeah, we'll take the Flash, please.
Alrighty, Dwayne Wade.
Is he the Flash or just Flash?
I don't know.
I think he's Flash.
He's just
I
Flash.
just started typing
He dropped
Flash.
Yeah.
Idiot.
It's like Prince.
All right, good answer.
I mean, we have no idea if that's a good or bad guess, I guess.
No, if you look at the context, it's a good guess.
All right.
Yeah, but those could, yeah, okay. It's a fine guess.
Sorry, I feel like Jimmy is the next guess because Jimmy was on that Bulls team. That series went 6. In the bubble, they played 6. And they played 7 back-to-back years. I think Jimmy's a good answer. Jimmy Butler.
All right, we'll take Jimmy. Let's do it.
Alrighty, Jimmy Butler.
That was going to be my guess.
58.
50.
Ooh, haha.
50. Superstar whistle, if I've ever seen it.
All right, so I think
So-
that's a sweet spot. A guy who's been on multiple teams, so he's had like several bites at the Celtics apple.
But you also want minutes in there. And so
Yeah.
going back to the game 7 and the how many times have they seen this particular opponent theories, I would look to Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis.
How do we feel about that? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Unless we can think of another buck.
Well, it's tough. I don't want to throw out too many names.
How many guesses do we get?
Can you lead to it without saying the name?
We get 6 of them. I think we should take Giannis just like defensively.
Well,
on
the
this.
certain
Well, hold on.
left eye can't blink guy.
I mean, he is under heavy consideration. Would you rather go with him?
I think they played more games against him.
We'll go with him. We'll go with Joel.
Joel.
Alrighty.
Joel Embiid.
Jojo.
Get to 53.
Nice, Noah.
I don't
Good
know.
stuff.
Sam, let's
Close
take
game.
Giannis.
Yeah.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer.
Are you guys taking Giannis?
Yeah.
We need our own.
Yeah.
Yeah!
That was a devastating
All
deferral.
Khari!
Oh, sorry.
I think he just wanted to take a shot at his eye.
Did you see how stone faced I was while you guys were talking? I was like, you're not saying anything.
Oh, that's awful. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay. It happens.
Cam got
Okay, so-
outvoted, and I was just like, oh shit.
Well, no, we that was diplomatic. We're teammates. So it's since the 09-010 season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I
that's
think it
several
includes
rounds
the
of-
2010 playoffs.
I mean, so then you could think like Dwight Howard. How many times did the Celtics face the Magic in the postseason? Or even a Hawk. I mean, Al Horford is not a bad guess because they faced the Celtics a couple times. Like Bam is in the 60 range, having played the Celtics 4 times. So to get into that 60 range, you probably need to face the Celtics 3 or 4 times at least, right?
You know, they played. It's gonna suck if we don't guess it, but I'll just say there's a particular. It's just too obvious to dance around. They played Kyle Lowry a bunch because he was on Toronto in the bubble, and that series went 7, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So there's a
was
couple
in
of
the West, but
Miami
he was-
plus Toronto, and he's a
he's a foul
drifter and a
merchant,
fouler. Yeah.
Foul
It's
merchant.
hard to not. I think big men are the way to go. I'll take it, Bobby.
We can throw out your guess, Cam.
It's very clever. No, I don't have a guess yet. So let's take it. That's cool.
No, are you
love
staying
Kyle Lowry.
silent after persuading your team wrong?
You're never gonna hear from me again.
We will.
So what are you going with?
We will see about Lowry. I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
this is going to be in the 50s. I think it's going to be below.
60.
Oh hell yeah!
Nice
We'll take
pull,
that.
dude.
We now we
he has
need
a son
them
named
to duff
Cameron,
it.
so you know that's good.
Fun fact about that: Kyle Lowry has fouled the Celtics playoffs and regular season more times than any other player since 2010,
That's all he knows.
including playoffs and regular season. He has committed 200 personal fouls against the Celtics. The next highest is Giannis at 172. So he's fouled the Celtics 28 more times.
He's the best.
Yeah,
He's the GOAT.
Sam and Khari, to you.
What you got, Sam?
I've been ping ponging a couple names around in my head. I'm not going to say them out loud because that's foolish. I would never do something like that. Jack, am I allowed to look up years somebody was on a team?
No.
Okay, I won't.
No.
I won't. You can veto this.
You
Khari.
can ask Khari though. Like you can ask him, was he on this team from X?
I think the Celtics have played 6 playoff series since 2010 against J.R. Smith.
Right after he says he's not bringing up a name, he brings up a name.
I like that.
I think we're gonna roll with J.R. Smith because he knocked out Jay Crowder in one. Did flagrants count for triple? J.R. Smith.
JR. All right. We're guessing.
That's such a good get. That's definitely on the list.
55.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
All right,
Not
wait.
the best.
Bobby and Noah, how's this? Thinking of those Cavs teams, it's not like a huge data set, but Kevin Love is now double dipped, having played the Celtics with the Cavs teams and now the Heat.
Keep in mind the shoulder injury with Kelly Olynyk.
That sounds like you're
That's just one foul though.
You saying keep,
but
in
it
mind
took knocked him out of a
injury?
series.
It's like you're trying to throw a baseball and you're like, keep in mind my shoulder injury.
They just jive together, those two sentences.
So anyways, that's where J.R. Smith took me. Is like, oh yeah, someone from that Cavs team probably, because they went back-to-back conference finals that was 4 and 6 games or something. But then Love also would have faced the Celtics against the Heat. I mean, as a member of the Heat.
A possibility. Another guy that came to mind is PJ Tucker.
True. I guess he didn't get that many minutes, but.
Noah, any input? Are you retired? Like what's happening?
Who's
I have ideas, but they're probably all bad.
Throw him out there
with that attitude.
One miss.
I know, but it was so costly. It was 17 points.
It's fine. This is your chance to overcome it.
Well, I was thinking like LeBron, Wade era players.
Like
from that team?
Like from the Heatles?
Like maybe the third.
What about Mario Chalmers? That's a foul merchant.
So there is Chalmers for sure, but with the who you're referring to, he missed some time in one of those series.
He's too delicate.
I don't feel like he picked up a ton of fouls. I could be wrong on that, but
no, I won't advocate for him for sure.
He's going to be atop the leaderboard now. That's how this goes.
What do you guys think?
Who do we feel strongest about that we've just considered?
I think of players that like viscerally make you upset as a Celtics fan. So then from that era, it's like Mario Chalmers and Udonis Haslem. And it's probably because they were like in the people's business. I'm gonna bite my tongue because I actually have a player to that end that I think is a good guess.
You say him. Why don't we just?
Okay, I think Chris Middleton has got.
I was literally just thinking that.
Let's take Middleton.
Middleton confirmed. Okay. Sorry, I zoned out. I spelled the name wrong.
This is huge, Cam.
I liked literally all the other
43.
Sorry.
Hopefully, we threw out too many names for them to stick to one.
Did you like any of their guesses, Khari? I do have some thoughts, but I'm just curious. If
I'm gonna throw one out. You got to be
Go ahead.
veto power over this. Can we take Chris Bosh?
Chris Bosh would have been on.
You can have Chris
2011 Bosh. And 2012, and that's it. In 2011 was only 5 games. I don't know. I have names I like better.
Okay. I have another backup.
All right, go ahead.
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose would have been.
Guy.
No. Because they played them in 2009.
Oh, yeah. That was the big 2009 series.
I think they played Cleveland in 2015, 2017, 2018. But those series were kind of short. This is big boy minutes, big boy ball right here.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
I gotta leave soon if that helps.
Okay. All right.
Me too.
I will.
Oh, Jack, you were so ready to just cut me.
We could always guess Melo again, Sam.
Melo would have been only 2 series. The JR pick was good because he ended up on the Cavs and they played the Cavs.
Yeah.
take Chris Bosh.
He doesn't make sense. I feel like Tristan Thompson is a really good guess.
Ooh, yeah.
I think I want to go with Tristan Thompson.
Do it.
Final guess, Tristan Thompson?
Yes.
Alrighty. 27.
Good guess. Good answer.
You have to say that.
Right on the
All
board.
right, this is our moment, guys.
I sold.
Where did we land on Kevin Love?
I think it's a good guess, but I've already technically made 2 guesses for the team.
They're all done, right?
No, they have one more.
We do 6.
Oh, no, yeah.
No, they
it's
won't.
6 each because to make it even. Yeah.
So they have one more.
Yeah, and you guys have 2 more.
Okay. I don't know how to give a clue that Sam.
I
won't
think just
detect.
taking players who got a lot of minutes is valuable.
So maybe we do go with Kevin Love, but another name that came to mind is Shumpert, who was on the Knicks and came to Cleveland and is a foul-prone player.
And he has a nose ring, so that's good.
Love his arms, Cam.
I think we should take Love and then talk through the last one, because I think a bona fide star player who's going to get like 40 minutes a game.
And Love.
Remember, there was one series he basically didn't play.
Kevin Love. Yeah, but even last year in 7 games, he probably picked up a few fouls on Sunday, maybe one.
Let's go with Kevin Love.
Kevin Love. Alrighty. Let me take a look. All right.
I don't even know what a good score is anymore.
48.
Yes.
It's a good score
Yes.
right now.
Okay.
I love Banana Republic.
All right. Close game now. Tristan Thompson brought Team Sword back.
This is devastating. I hate that we're not last.
I know.
It actually helps you guys.
No, it doesn't.
he
Because I
has lost
can't be like, what do
heartbreakers
you think
this
of
way.
this? What do you
Well,
think of that?
It does though, because you guys, it's a
Emotionally,
balance.
it
Though,
does.
'cause you guys got to have the first
Better
guess.
value picks,
Yeah, you guys got the first guess, so it's a balance.
All right, Sam. Let me throw a name out there for you.
All right.
Drew Holiday.
I did think of him.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's 2012, 2021. I think that's it. Or, 2022, rather. They didn't play Milwaukee last year because Milwaukee lost. I don't think the sample size is there. But those are 2 7-game series.
No one's guessed Chris Bosh yet.
Cam.
I don't think I can't remember him ever fouling anyone.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like someone who racked up the fouls.
Well, they don't need to know that. I remember him fouling a lot, actually. Personally.
I have another name,
have one.
but they were not a foul-prone player, and I'm having a very difficult time because I don't want to burn it. I don't want.
If you guess him, Sam, and it's wrong, it will be hilarious content.
This is your last guess. You gotta make it count, but also Cam has to leave soon. So
I will ask Khari. What do you think of Khari?
Great
15,
pick.
17.
That's a great
not
pick.
18.
Yeah, I say
2020, 2022.
That's definitely gonna be.
If he's wrong, it's great for us and the content.
Kyrie for the win.
Kyrie's
Kyrie
such a
for
good
the
pick.
win.
Kyrie,
Wrong, I can hate him even more.
Because he's also moody, so he'd like foul people.
Not bad.
Oh,
Not
that's
bad.
a very good guess.
Decent.
okay, so my
Better
math
than
is
Tristan
correct.
Thompson.
You guys need 43 to tie.
Is there a player on the board?
Am I allowed to tell them, Sam Khari? That's been the rule that I can.
What
tell
did you
them. Am I allowed
say?
to tell them.
Tell him what? How
You
many?
need 40. You need 43 to tie. It is possible. Yeah.
Can you tell us if it's Mario Chalmers?
Let's take our time.
Well, no, I gotta go.
Cam, it's only 6:35. Dinner.
I just feel like it's gonna be from the Big Three era because I feel like they were more fit. Like isn't the whole commentary on the NBA is they used to foul more?
Could be someone who spanned both.
Both eras.
Wait, hold on. Nobody's done Mario Chalmers yet, right?
Correct.
No. Or Chris Bosh. Like those would be Heatles. How many times did they play the Magic back in the day? Like, are we
Not
sleeping
enough.
on Dwight Howard or something?
No. That was before 2010. There was.
Yeah. I
Yeah, they
guess
played
that's
him
true.
in 09 was one of those.
I just feel like So again, where I got the Middleton bit was like, who is a villain? And I feel like you become a villain when you foul people like Caleb Martin. Should we guess Caleb Martin?
No.
No, it's too small a sample
Wait,
size.
hold on.
You know what I mean?
I feel like Chalmers or Chris Bosh are probably our best bets, or maybe Haslam. No, well, why not Chalmers? He was really getting like 40 minutes a night.
Yeah, that the only thing I think there is
Another
like,
name to
I just
consider.
disliked him a lot.
Just throwing out another name, not necessarily advocating for, but Brooke Lopez.
That's not bad.
Probably not enough series.
Yeah, not enough series. I also like. I don't feel like I walked away with any like scorn towards Brooke Lopez. That's the heuristic I'm working with. I don't know if that's the right heuristic.
This is really bad because like I don't think I've had like any new names coming to my head still. Like this is a
So I
hard
think our
last
most
guess.
likely guesses at this point are Chalmers or Bosch.
Let's take Chalmers. Bosch is so delicate. Also, it'd be hilarious if it's Mario Chalmers. It's way more fun.
I like Chalmers.
Tobias Harris, our beloved.
Bobby doesn't want it to be.
He was there
Mario
in Philly.
Chalmers at all.
He was there in Philly throughout. I'm not anti the Chalmers guess. I'm just, we want to dot our I's and cross our T's.
Someone's got to be the leader here.
So I would say, do we agree we're more confident in Chalmers than Bosch? Is that a take?
Yeah, I want to take Bosch off.
Okay, so Chalmers versus Tobias Harris. Where do we land?
No, Tobias Harris he doesn't even touch anyone.
He's been there. He's been in these wars.
Had a few big rebounds the other night.
And one that he didn't come up with.
Yeah, well, that's why he boxed out, right?
He's chips. We can go with Chalmers and see what happens.
Mario Chalmers. Yeah, we'll take Chalmers. Thanks.
Chris Bosh didn't play in 2010. So
Okay.
for that context for you, there were one player that would have tied it exactly, and two that would have got you the win, and one was in fact Mario Chalmers. Congratulations!
Let's go!
Wow.
Love it.
Also, save
both
it
have
for
it.
me.
Udonis Haslam would have tied it exactly 43, and the
Oh.
other one you guys weren't thinking recent enough. Duncan Robinson, 44 fouls.
Never would have
That
guessed
surprises
that.
me.
Wouldn't have guessed.
I
You
mean,
guys
that's actually, but
wiped
like
it, though.
going back to what I was saying, like a player that you hate for for reasons that are unclear. It makes sense. Duncan Robinson probably does foul a lot, and that's why he's
Yeah,
a
you
villain.
guys wiped this board almost perfectly, though. The top names: LeBron, who was banned, Giannis, Bam, Lowry, D Wade, J.R. Smith, Embiid, Butler, Love, Irving, Chalmers, and then Robinson, then Middleton. So you guys like perfectly wiped the board, except for
This is the first time I've actually won a game of trivia.
On the
Tristan
board,
Thompson.
Cam.
Also,
Yeah,
underrated
on the board.
things that I don't even think were considered. D Wade was so high because he also played them in the Bulls series.
That's
in
what I said.
2017.
I said that.
Okay. And then Kyrie in the Nets one.
Kyrie
Yeah,
was
the
such a
dual
ball.
the dual matchups were huge. Next on the list after Udonis Haslam, George Hill, 39 fouls.
Everybody had George Hill.
Avid hunter, George Hill.
I feel
Yeah.
like all of us thought of Kyrie at the same time.
No, I never would have thought of that. That was such.
Also, if you had guessed
J.R.
Chris
Smith
Bosh,
was great.
if you had guessed Chris Bosh, it would have gotten you a 14. So be grateful.
Thank God.
He's an orchid.
Also, Bobby, for your sake, Tobias Harris was 31, I think. So
He never comes through in any facet.
All right, I'm gonna jump. I don't know if you guys are staying on.
Alrighty. We're jumping out as well. We're gonna wrap here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you very much. Cam, I'm gonna go around the horn, ask people to tell where to find them. So I'll start with you so you can get out of here. Where can people find you, etc.?
On the internet, usually. At Celtics Wire and Celtics Lab. Like I said before, if anyone is listening, please like and subscribe our stuff. Everything we do is at the behest of the algorithm. You have to tell the computers that you like our stuff, or otherwise you're not going to get our stuff. It's not like we can't do anything about it. You have to tell the computer. So please tell your computer you like our stuff. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye, Cam. Khari, up to you. Where can people find you on the internet? Your writing, all this stuff.
Boston.com and the Boston Globe.
Hell yeah. Sam, on the horn here.
You can find me right here. How about them Celtics? Subscribe to the channel, leave a like Cam said, it's very important to us. We appreciate it very much when you do so. You can find me on Twitter at Sam LaFrance NBA. You can find me on CelticsBlog. I put up the Heart Monitor article today detailing the experience and what really triggered me during game one. So if you're really interested, you can go look. And also part of Inside the Celtics with SI Media. So I'm doing work there too.
There you go. Noah?
I would say primarily you can find me on Twitter, but also at plenty of other places. But yeah, everything's on my Twitter. And
There you go. Bobby?
Always say my before.
Find me SI Media Group Celtics coverage that is inside the Celtics, and also Talking C's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday typically. But this week we are pushing back tomorrow's to Thursday due to schedule. So Thursday at 11 Eastern.
Probably won't be a Friday one, right? I think that might just be our
You're
last
traveling,
one.
aren't you?
I'm flying to Miami on Friday.
So you'll get one more Talking Seas this week. But y'all can find me on Twitter at JacksonMoneNBA podcast. Tab about them Celtics right here if you're watching on the YouTube. Celts of the Roundtable is here every single Tuesday in the evening around 5:36 is when we're going to try to be here. So thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it very much, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.